Catus, Maximus here, this time with a review of the OlsaTools 12-piece metric 6-point non-reversing straight handle ratcheting box wrench set. I haven't taken many promotional products, and a lot of the ones that I've been offered just haven't been worth anything. I took a saw once and it was just terrible. A Bluetooth speaker, not so great, but this is the first real tool. So more than 2 years of YouTube, I'm actually kind of happy about that. And when they had contacted me, I saw these wrenches and I said, okay, well, they're $100 normally on the website, but they did give me a discount code. So if you order through OlsaTools, you can use seewm, and I'll put it down here. I'll include a link in the description. And that seewm will give you 10% off. So these, you would be looking at 90 bucks free shipping on these. Lifetime warranty. They are Taiwanese made. Pretty reasonable quality box, and these kind of caught my eye. OlsaTools is interesting. They seem to be like a Canadian company that has an incorporation in Nevada, I think just for shipping purposes. They do offer lifetime warranty. They offer a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. And oddly, a 360-day just general return policy, which I suppose is okay. That's actually quite a bit of time. We got a sticker here, and then just a normal, how's your OlsaTool experience? On their website, they do mention that if they have issues, that i.e. one of these wrenches breaks, that you can just contact them through the email. They do have an 800 or an 877 number, which is also pretty nice. Here we go. They actually have a number right there. So surprised that at least they have a phone number that you can call with. Reasonably well packaged. So when they offered me these, I said, why not? I love tools, and I don't have any of these 6-point ratcheting box wrenches. So they come in a carrier. This is just a soft polypropylene carrier. It's just basic. And it holds the wrenches and keeps them organized well enough. I wouldn't say this is super robust. It would hold them, but if you had these just hanging in a tool truck or something, they may bounce out, but for the most part, it's not bad. What I do like is it's a 12-piece, so we're going from the 8mm, which is something that even the Harbor Freight icons, like these long handle reversing icons, are 150 bucks, and they're only 10-piece from 10 through 19. I kind of like these just because of that 6-point design. We can see that here. And of course they are straight handle, which just seems to be the standard. Reversing ratcheting wrenches are all 15-degree offset like this, but it always seems the non-reversing are straight. And I have Blackhawks and gear wrenches. What also caught my eye about these is that they have the 4-sided or the quad broach on the open end with even little flutes. So I thought that was pretty nice. The fit and finish isn't just chrome vanadium. Surprisingly enough, with these guys, they're at least advertising the specific grade of steel. So it's 6140 chromoly. 6150 would be a better grade, but it's actually quite a bit more expensive. And so I don't fault them. 6140 is a good grade of vanadium steel. And at least they're letting you know exactly what these are made out of, which is a handy item, and I think they're reasonably priced. There seems to be a whole flood of ratcheting wrenches on Amazon, but not so many that are actually 6-point, and that was the big deal about these. They do have a unique reversing version of these, and I was going to get those, but I decided, well, two things. I couldn't quite tell if the reversing ones were 12-point, but I could easily see that the non-reversing ones are 6-point. And I thought with the 6-point ratcheting wrench, that one advantage that you get from a non-reversing version is that the pawls tend to be much larger since they only have to operate in one direction. So you end up with a physically stronger mechanism than you would with a more traditional reversing style. Olsa's reversing mechanism is kind of an odd one where it uses kind of like some ratchets self-reverse. Well, they've figured out how to make a reversing design where you can like press on it in a certain way and actually get it to reverse. But I thought, I'm just going to go with the non-reversing. So they do something strange. This is something new. I've also seen this on power built sockets. These are this new type of, I'd say, fluting or design. And I think the reason they're doing this is because once you have like 12-point sockets or even 6 points with the normal fluting, when they get really worn, all the flutes just kind of get pounded out flat, and they end up actually looking something like this. So they've just gone ahead and done that design in the first place. That way, when you're running the bolt, it still is gripping on the inner edge, but is essentially, figured out the words I was going to use. It's essentially taking what a socket that's fluted ends up looking like when it's already used, and just kind of preemptively designing it. PowerBill has a Xeon series that looks just like this. One thing that I did read that also got me curious is the tight fit, and these actually do have a pretty tight fit. We can see that this fastener actually is barely moving around in there at all. 19 millimeter and 3/4 inch are about the same. So even though this is technically a 3/4 inch bolt, we know it's a fractional bolt because of the 6 lines instead of a number. Really pretty nice tight fit. They feel just fine. So time will tell how they hold up, but I was actually kind of stoked. After 2 years, this is actually the first set of tools that I really was kind of excited about, and particularly because it seems that their reversing version of these, to make up for the cost of the reversing mechanism, they just use a standard broach such as this, or on these non-reversing ones they included this multifaceted broach. And some of my subscribers like that. Personally, I like it as well. I think that the fact that they put fluting in there actually means a little bit less, because that fluting just, it helps a little bit with the open end from preventing it from rounding, because it does allow one edge to grip a little bit deeper on the fastener. I think the bigger deal is that since you do have an undercut there, it's actually a radius. So you should have some pretty decent strength on the jaws, just because there isn't there's a smaller, or excuse me, there isn't a sharp point for a stress riser. It's actually a radius in there. And they're actually pretty tight. I really like that fit. If we compare to, say, these Craftsman USA, it's about the same. So I do appreciate that a lot. And to tell you the truth, like on these icons, these have these, special kind of grip design on the open end, which does work pretty well. It keeps the wrench from slipping off. But the problem is it's really loose. And then when the wrench starts to wear out or get worn, this will get even looser. So I really do appreciate the four-sided, where you can really get it on the fastener and actually get quite a bit of grip. And there is a pretty nice thick buckle on this. And they do have, they seem like decent quality. They're all pretty straight. I looked at them. So really, overall, not bad tools. And to tell you the truth, these are something that I would have ended up buying at some point. Just because I've really been wanting 6-point ratcheting wrenches for a real long time, and I do appreciate that at least it's a decent set. And with that discount code, they're only $90 for the whole set shipped, which I actually think is tolerable. Obviously, I got these as a promo item, so I'm particularly excited. But to tell you the truth, my subscribers know the kind of tools that I buy, and these are definitely something where they definitely would have caught my eye. If these were at Harbor Freight for $100, I think they'd be a pretty decent deal. One thing I didn't mention is the length of these, and they appear just to be a standard length, just like these Craftsman here. So these would just be a normal length as compared to, say, long handle, which is just fine. They may have long handles in the future. Who knows? I have figured out, actually, after doing a little bit of looking up, the big reason that these are straight. Well, one, it's nice that these 6 points do just hold on to the fastener a little bit better. But one of the deals with them being straight is it tends to keep the wrench on the fastener. So I just have this wrench on the head of a bolt. It could easily, if I can get this on there, slide back and forth. But once you get it on there and you start ratcheting, you're actually kind of naturally keeping the wrench right on the head of the bolt. So it makes it pretty easy to drive this in. I'm not having to struggle, and it's not wanting to slip on or off. I think that's actually not a bad idea. Now I'm understanding why they're straight by default. So anyway, that was my review of these Olsa 6-point ratcheting box wrenches. And I think they're pretty decent, and I'm actually pretty happy, finally getting to a point where somebody may be willing to send me some reasonable quality tools to review. And that's all I'm getting out of here. I'm still paper free up in here for as far as promotional products, but they were actually pretty honest and straight up and just said, we're willing to take the risk of just sending you some products. You may not even make a video, but actually these turned out to be pretty nice, decent packaging. Seems to be a tolerable warranty, an actual phone number to call. And they have this more unique product, which is the 6-point ratcheting box wrenches, which are really excellent in a lot of situations where you're working with air fittings, compression fittings, all sorts of things where you may not want to use 12-point wrenches on, as well as fasteners that already are rounded, where you may have been able to break them loose, but you're still having a hard time getting them out. I think these are pretty cool. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody watching and subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. Until next time, Catus Maximus out.